The 621st edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their fantasy football models are almost live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Gambling Podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, goes out to that dude Fish, who is one of our friends in the Discord. Hadn't heard the name before, but he posted people some winners for Olympic wrestling. So there you go. Thank you, that dude Fish. Hopefully you stick around the Discord some more. The Discord would be sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. I would be in there as my name changes always. I'm Jeff Chalks Fox, so that's what I'm known as now on this here podcast that you're watching, hopefully, at MMA Gambling Podcast. If you're not, please make sure you, at very least, subscribe to us on YouTube. And at the very least, you're listening to us as well. Thanks for coming to the show. This is the third of 3 regional MMA events that we're covering for you this week. This would be Fury FC, the Texas-based promotion. My co-host, Gummy really wants to do this event. Not sarcasm, like usually I am sarcastic, but no, he really wants to do this one. There's lots of good fights on here and lots of interesting, familiar names on the fight card. So we shall be covering that for you this year episode, as you probably know by the title of this episode already. Let's bring in the man of the hour himself, the man who's up 16 units in regional MMA this year alone. It would be Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
I would also say, first of all, subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast on the YouTube page. Click the little button. You can turn off notifications if you want. It doesn't change how much we appreciate the subscription. I'll also say I really like those wrestling plays in there. Those are a couple of my favorite American wrestlers. He just missed out on Amit Allure, who is, do you know Mika Galvao, the grappler? Yeah, his girlfriend, who's only 20, is a pretty damn good wrestler and a jiu-jitsu brown belt, if I'm not mistaken. So look for her in the Olympics as well. I want to say she's like a -170 favorite to win gold in her division, though. So,
and what's the name again?
Amit Allure, AMITELOR. Okay. You're going to look it up. Yeah. She's jacked as all hell.
Jump. Yeah. Yes. Everyone jump in and get on that play. All right. It's all about, let's talk about Fury, Gumby. You really like this card, right?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you've got 2 UFC veterans on the card, which is really exciting. You've got a Contender Series veteran, actually a 2-time Contender Series veteran. You got a brother of somebody who we've talked about their family 8,000 times. You got somebody who is on The Ultimate Fighter. You've got one of the most hyped amateur prospects that I had seen in a while, who kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. I mean, like, I just found too much intrigue to kind of overlook Fury 95. And sometimes they put together cards that I kind of like shrug my shoulders at, and I'm like, especially some of those Fury Challenger ones, I'm like, I don't know, am I being forced to care here? But this one, I'm not being forced to care. I actively campaigned for it, so looking forward to Fury 95.
Yep. We are covering all 19 fights in this episode, so we better dive into it. Big fight card. Before, I don't know why he's laughing. Apparently I said something funny. We got to tell you, obviously, check out the MMA Gambling I'm messing up. The Bosses ad read, Gumby. I said MMA Gambling Podcast. The Sports Gambling Podcast. The Bosses Podcast. The main podcast. The mothership. The one that started it all. They have launched their 32 NFL team previews. And as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase. You could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Hopefully Jeff Fox is fired is not part of the phrase, but hey, if I keep butchering these, it might be. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and the SGPN app, and of course on YouTube. All right, Fury time. I'm just so excited about Fury. I can't talk about anything else. Fury FC 95, Lingo versus Teague. Jeff Teague, former NBA point guard, making his MMA debut here, I assume.
Nope.
Friday. No, wrong guy. All right, August the 2nd. So this is another Friday when we have 3 events on Friday. Are you kidding me? This one, they usually run on Sundays, but nope. 3 screens on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. All the regional events we're covering this week are all Fridays. This one is in Dallas, Texas. This one starts at 6:30 p.m. UFC Fight Pass, so that makes it nice and easy for you. Prelims, which would be the 6:30 part, starting part, are on YouTube. Gillies, Dallas is where it's taking place. I assume that's a bar, Gumby. I assume you've been there as well, or a nightclub.
I have not.
Really? Huh, surprising. Dallas, Texas, in a cage, 19 fights. We are only going to cover 5 in depth, and then we'll see how many of the extra ones Gumby wants to cover on the lightning round for you. No odds as of this recording. Usually they're probably in the next day or 2 they will drop. Usually the case with promotions like Fury. We're going to start with the main card fight. 170 pounds. That would be welterweight. Darren, Whitney, Craig, Willingham, a couple of Americans going at it here. Let me tell you about Willingham first. The Can Man, one of the greatest nicknames. Do we know why he's the Can Man? I couldn't find why anywhere.
I don't have any idea.
Well, hopefully he comes on the Top Turtle MMA podcast soon, and you shall find out. The Can Man is 1-1. Maybe he needs a few more fights under his belt first before Gumby interviews him. 1-1. Both those 1-2 decision. He's 1-0 in Fury. That was his last fight. So he's on a 1-fight winning streak, 6 years younger than Whitney. Whitney, D-Day is the nickname. 6-5 with 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 4-5 in Fury. He's lost 3 straight and only won 1 of his last 6 fights. Are they setting up the Can Man for a win here? Lost the last fight via TKO. Used to fight at lightweight.
I think they are, but I think being that Willingham is only 1-1 in his pro career, I think you're going to see a respectable line in there, like -250. And if there is, that's like a great parlay piece for me, because Craig Willingham is the guy who I mentioned at the top, was like kind of a really big amateur prospect. Like he was somebody, first of all, highly touted because he had like a big long AMI record. I want to say it was like 5-0, 6-0 or something like that. And then on top of that, he was fighting for one of the promotions pulling in the best AMI numbers and the best AMI fighters for a little while. And that's a Cowboy Fight Series, which only lasted, I want to say 4 events or 5 events, but they were really pulling in some high level amateur fighters in that like Virginia, I want to say it was in the Virginia area. And Willingham was on those shows. He was winning fights on them. He was looking really good. And then he turned pro and, you know, he kind of took a loss in a really weird way. He sort of ran out of gas in that fight. I don't know if he got overly excited being his pro debut or whatever. But like outside of that, like any of the fights you want to watch, he just kind of like styles on his opponents. Like he has really good range management. He mixes up his strikes really well. His footwork's clean. And then you watch Whitney and in the way he's lost those last fights. And it's just like, this is a guy who doesn't come from a karate background and have a karate stance, but his hands are as low as a guy who does. And that's like obviously super alarming against the guy who strikes as well as Willingham does. Of course, like I think this is sort of being set up for Willingham, but I do think too, when you see the records where they are with Willingham only being 1-1 and, you know, like how sportsbooks treat that, you're probably going to see him at a number that is somewhat enticing. So give me Craig Willingham here. And I'm looking to squeeze him into some parlays as long as he stays, you know, under -300 here.
All right. Well, we'll put him at -300. Hopefully we'll get it less than that though. Of course. Right. But once you maniacs steaming up, it's going to go way back up again. Anyhow, let's move on to, hey, here's a fight you may know, a fighter you may know. It's a middleweight fight. Joseph Holmes. You may not know him yet, but you'll know him in a second if you don't know by that name. Versus Elias Urbina. A couple Americans going at middleweight. Urbina, 5-1, 2 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. This is his debut in Fury. He's won 2 straight fights, both via finish. Last fight was back in December 2019, though. His last loss was August 2017. He went 0-1 on Contender Series. Do you remember who he fought?
On Elias Urbina?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was, it was right after he fought on The Ultimate Fighter. Bevan Lewis?
Wow.
Yeah, Bevan Lewis. Right, Bevan Lewis.
Amazing. Yes, he went 1-1 go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I was pretty sure when I was, like, digging through his Contender Series, or not Contender Series fight, his Ultimate Fighter loss was to Eric Spicely, who's now a stand-up comedian in Toronto.
Yeah, both the people. Yeah, he was 1-1 and Tough. So yeah, both people. The person he lost to on Contender Series and Tough have both washed out of the UFC since that time. 2014 Pro MMA debut, so he's been around, but he's only fought 6 times in 10 years. Holmes, Ugly Man. There you go. Now you know him, Ugly Man Joe. 8-4. 2 knockouts, 6 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He owes his rounds. 1-0 in Fury. He's lost 2 straight and only won 1 of his last 4. The last 2 losses he has been finished in, and he missed weight in his very last fight. That was back in May of 2023. He's not won a fight since May of 2022. He went 1-3 in the UFC, 2-0 in LFA, 1-1 in Bellator, 1-0 in Contender Series. He's fight at welterweight, 1-0 in pro Muay Thai, 2 years younger, an inch of height over Urbina. So a couple of veterans here on Fury.
Yeah, so I think Holmes is obviously going to come in here as a favorite because he's fought sometime in the last half a decade. And so, like, let's say negative 250 here. You can get probably plus 215, 225, depending on the size of the juice the books you use has. And call me crazy, I'm going to take Elias Urbina here. I think for me, first of all, if you go back and you watch any of his fights, he's got a style that will beat Joseph Holmes. He throws very hard kicks. He like his brother is very big and strong physically, right? Because he's one of the 3 Urbina brothers, one of which is still in the UFC, Gilbert. But like he's like his brother, being like very wide shouldered, very big bodied for that weight class. And if you remember some of Joseph Holmes's losses in the UFC, some of it was just being bodied, and being put back. So I think if Holmes tries to go for a clinch or tries to go for a bunch of takedowns, because he does have a good jiu-jitsu game, I think he's going to have a tough time getting Urbina down. I also think Urbina's kicks are lethal. I mean, like his last win was a head kick knockout. Granted, it was 5 years ago, but like his head kicks and kicks to the body have always looked good. I think that's a weak spot for Joseph Holmes. So like when you add those 2 things together, I think it obviously adds up to Urbina having a good style matchup. Now, the caveat being here, and your appetite for risk, I think ultimately boils down to how do you feel about a guy who hasn't fought in 5 years? I have seen him training with his brother regularly. I know that he seems to be in fight shape from all I can tell. It's enough for me to like Urbina here, especially if he comes in as a big dog, to trust just like that his kickboxing and his strength is good enough to deal with Holmes. So yeah, give me Elias Urbina.
All right, there we go. Elias Urbina is a pick. Hopefully he's more of the good Urbina brother and not in the UFC Urbina brother. All right, a plus 215 would be a nice hit as well. All right, before we move on, I got to tell you, I don't have to. I want to tell you, speaking of underdogs, about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first two pick'em entries, and then go streaking. If you can get a 11-0 run, you can win 1,000 times your money. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries, putting them on the spot for a play for tonight, Tuesday.
Tuesday, take Juan Soto's higher than on his total bases line. He's facing Aaron Nola on Tuesday, who I know is a good pitcher, but Juan Soto's got 10 hits against him career. 60% of those are for extra bases. So why not take a guy who could probably beat his total base projection with just one swing of the bat against the guy he's been hitting a bunch of extra bases against? Juan Soto's total bases here on Tuesday.
I didn't know Juan Soto got traded to the Braves. Apparently he did. Congrats to you, Gumby. Or you
I pick guys who aren't on the Braves. I pick guys who aren't on the Braves.
There you go. He must be on a fantasy team of yours then. There's something to making you pick Juan Soto. He's just really good. That helps as well.
No, I just hate the Phillies. Remember?
Oh, right. Yes. Oh, there you go. Another hate pick. All right, sign up with our code at Underdog Fantasy. It will be MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. A promo code MMA SGPN. And we're brought to you by Odds Jam. Odds Jam is your one-stop shop for beating the sports books. OddsJam uses millions of data points across every U.S. and Canadian sportsbook to show you the best value plays for your money. Their line shopping tool shows you the best price for any bet you want to make across countless sportsbooks, not just DraftKings and FanDuel, but even BetOnline, Bovada, Cut, and many more. Their arbitrage tool will find opportunities where you can bet both sides of the same prop on different sportsbooks to guarantee a positive ROI. That's what we're all about. Positive ROIs. Their new fantasy tool features the highest EV plays relative to the sportsbook's odds, allowing you to crush sites like Underdog Fantasy. They even have a tool for finding the best sign-up bonuses. If you're interested in trying out Odds Jam, you can get a 7-day free trial using our link and our code. We'll get you even more. The link, oddsjam.com, the promo code SGPN, that gets you 35% off your first month. So 7-day free trial and 35% off your first month if you go to oddsjam.com and use promo code SGPN. And boom. All right. Do we have any other ugly men? No, we have some men to cover next. Kevin Rosas Ricky Romo, a couple Americans fighting at featherweight, and they are our next fight that we're breaking down. They're third from the top as of Tapology's fight order here. Romo 4-3-1, one knockout, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once, 2-2 in Fury, 1-2 over his last 3, 1-3-1 over his last 5. He did lose his last fight. He's fight at lightweight and at welterweight, and he's 3 inches taller than Rosas. Rosas 2-1 with 2 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in Fury. He's won 2 straight fights. He used to fight up at lightweight. That's all I got.
So I think Kevin Rosas, massive favorite here, probably negative 350. And it's both just because his recent results, in addition to that, Ricky Romo's recent loss just looks like it's an absolute style matchup for him. Kevin Rosas, I mean, incredible grappler. Whether he's working off of his back or working on top, he's got the sub skills to dominate just about anybody. And then you look at Ricky Romo, his last fight against Mauricio Gomez. Yeah, Mauricio Gomez was the last fight. And Gomez, who, man, I don't want to knock this poor guy, but like, I don't think of him as being like a dominant grappler. And he looked sensational just taking it to Ricky Romo. He nearly had an omoplata at one point in time, which I was like, man, this dude's just sticking himself in submissions he doesn't belong in. I mean, I think Rosas is going to lock up a submission. Look, if this takes longer than a round, I'll be shocked. Kevin Rosas is going to sub him. He's going to sub him early. I don't think Romo will stay off the mat. I don't think Romo will stay out of submission. So, yeah, give me Kevin Rosas. I don't think it needs to get any more complicated than that. Anything south of 400 is probably a parlay piece. Anything higher than that just depends on how little you want your parlay to move.
Can you get prop bets for Fury? Anyone offer that?
Not usually, but if you could, I mean, I'd take him by submission. Heck, I'd take him on, like, you know how like DK sometimes does those props, like, can he win in the first minute? Like I would take a Kevin Rosas prop on that.
Oh, a Degen special, eh? Definitely. All right, we are moving on. Co-main event time already. This is down at bantamweight. Josh Walker, Reyes, Cortez, both from America. 3 5-minute rounds. Cortez, JR, or is it Junior? JR or Junior? Junior, Reyes, Cortez, Junior.
Sometimes he's referred to as Junior Cortez instead of Reyes Cortez.
Right, yeah. Have we talked about him before? Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's on Contender Series twice.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, we have talked about him. Yes, we talked about him twice, probably that means. Junior Cortez, 7-3 with 5 knockouts. Never been finished in a fight. 1-0 in Fury. He's won 2 of his last 3, 4 of his last 6. He did lose his last fight. 0-2 on Contender Series. Do you remember who he lost to, since you're so smart about these things?
I know the second one was Peyton Talbot, because he went like 15 hard minutes with Peyton Talbot to the point where it made me second guess whether or not Talbot had any power. And then afterwards, I thought, like, whoa, what is Cortez's chin made out of?
Another good person. Another good person who just lost, but I still think he's.
What's it? It was up a weight class against Jonathan Pierce.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
a fighter who is bantamweight, but he fights at featherweight now. He just lost a few weeks ago. I think I picked him and you picked against him.
I don't remember.
C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, quality competition.
Good fights.
Yeah. Tough way to try to get into the UFC. And he used to fight up at featherweight, Cortez. All right, we're going to Snow Walker. That would be like a Game of Thrones nerd reference, right? You're not a nerd though, so you may not know. I think it isn't like Jon Snow. Isn't that? I'm not
gonna hate on Game of Thrones people. It's only for you to hate on large fan bases of popular culture.
That's me.
But I personally don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know anything about it.
Yep. Off air, he agrees with me. All right. Snow Walker is 8-2 with 2 knockouts. He's been knocked out once, submitted once, so he's finished in both his losses. 4-2 in Fury. He's won 4 of his last 5, but he did lose his last fight via TKO. 6 years younger than Cortez, an inch of height. And I'm sure you appreciate me making statements on your behalf. Go ahead.
I do. I always love when you try to drag me into your hatred of different popular culture stuff. My defense of Dragon Ball Z has perhaps won me more fans than you'll ever have.
It's true.
And I don't even watch Dragon Ball Z, but I just knew you were going to piss off a lot of people. This is the first of 2 fights that I'm going to say I expected the Contender Series vet, the person with a name, the person we've all heard of, the person who has a big sister in the UFC who just main evented. Expected.
That's right. That's her, Tracy, right?
Yeah, this is Tracy's little brother.
I'm cluing in finally, ladies and gentlemen, who this person is. Yes, I know him.
I expected this guy to be a favorite for just like all the hype behind his name. But as I've kind of talked to people in the know on this stuff, a lot of them think Josh Walker is going to be posted as a favorite. So, when these things come in as a contradiction for me, I usually just say, okay, we'll call it pick 'em odds then. Because I personally think Reyes Cortez should be a favorite. They think Josh Walker will definitely be one. I've watched Josh Walker. I don't know why he would be a favorite over Reyes Cortez. To be honest, I just think Junior has more on the feet for him, and to the point I just made about fighting 15 minutes with Peyton Talbot, you cannot take anything away from Junior Cortez's chin. This dude has an absolutely insane chin to fight 15 minutes and to take shots like that from Talbot. Like nobody else is doing that. So, shout out to his chin, first of all. And then second of all, I think he's just smarter and more diverse with his work on the feet. I like the way his footwork works. I like the way he moves forward. I like the way he does wrinkle in like a little bit of wrestling when he needs it. And then for me, Josh Walker and what I've seen of him, it's a lot of like, he's one of those guys who likes to measure the range with his lead hand and just leave it out there and then try to counter behind a right hand. And it's worked against so many regional bantamweights that he's fought. But I just can't imagine a guy who's as well-traveled as Reyes Cortez and who's fought such high level of competition and has been right there in Contender Series multiple times. I can't imagine that's a guy who gets tagged by that shot a lot, and that's not just to reduce Josh Walker to that being his whole striking game. I've just seen like enough of like him not having enough faith in like what that range is anyway, or not being able to find that range any other way, or like, be able to catch a guy who could do what Reyes Cortez can. So, I mean, if this comes in a pick 'em, or, God bless the bookmakers if they want to give me Reyes Cortez as a dog. I mean, I really do think Reyes Cortez is just going to cut the angles better. He's going to be sharper on his feet. He's got the cardio in the chin. I'll take him in this fight.
All right, there you go. So he's taking going with Jong's brother-in-law. I guess Jong's future brother-in-law for his pick. All right, before we move on, we're going to move on with Rhythm. If you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, you're missing out. They just predicted a bunch of winners for the 3M Open, and their football models are about to drop. You can even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And of course, Circus Sports is back with Circus Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office Survivor pool but didn't enter the Circa Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events of the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Boom. We're at the main event, aren't we? We are. Main event is not Jeff Teague, and is not his little brother who is in the NBA as well. It's Cam Teague. He is fighting against Austin Lingo, a name you may be familiar with. They're both American, and they are fighting 3 5-minute rounds at 145 pounds. That would be featherweight last time I checked. Tell you about Teague first. Chaos Cam Teague. 6-0, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. This is his Fury debut, stepping right into the main event. 6 straight wins have come via finish. So basically, 5 straight wins have come via finish, excuse me. So only his debut is the only fight that he didn't finish his opponent. He used to fight at 155, a catch weight of 165. 4 years younger than Lingo, 2 inches taller. Lights out Austin Lingo, 9-3, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once. This is his Fury debut as well. He went 6-0 in LFA, 2-3 in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight fights. He's not fought since July of 2023. He's not won since August 2021. Over to the Gumby man.
So this is another fight where I thought the UFC vet had come in as a favorite, being that he's fighting, a guy on the regional scene who's not had a ton of fights and hasn't fought all that high competition. And I'm hearing the exact opposite. I'm hearing Cam Teague comes in here as the favorite. So again, when I do that, I just say, let's pretend these are going to be pick 'em odds, and we'll see where to go from there when it actually posts. With that being said, I'm taking Austin Lingo here. I mean, I know his UFC stint didn't go as well as it should have, but he's still a guy who's got a little bit of grit, being one of those, those Fortis MMA guys. I think his striking is not bad. Obviously, he had some issues defensively wrestling guys like Yusuf Zalal. But like, I mean, he looked good enough in a lot of those fights where he was competitive. Cam Teague is a guy, I mean, chaos is a perfect nickname for him. This dude wants a brawl in the worst possible way. I mean, like, he sprints forward when the fight starts and just throws like 72 hook combinations in a row just until hoping he knocks the dude out he's fighting. And like, first of all, I think when you're fighting a guy who is a veteran like Austin Lingo, you go in with that kind of strategy, you're going to get countered. Whether it's with grappling, whether it's by being put up against the cage, whether it's been clinch strikes or a straight right to the head, like, you're going to get countered with something because a good veteran has seen that crap before. And then in addition to that, I just don't know how his cardio is going to hold up if this fight goes more than, 4 minutes. Because I think Lingo's got good cardio. He's shown that he's got good cardio. And I don't know that this Teague guy can keep his foot on the gas for as long as I think he would need to in order to get Austin Lingo out there. So, as impressive as it is that he's finished 5 straight fights, I actually see it as kind of a knock on him because he comes with a wild style that I don't think is replicable at a high level. So give me Austin Lingo again. I think he should be, negative 175, negative 200 favorite. I'm hearing almost the opposite. So if it winds up being a dog that size, definitely get in on Austin Lingo early.
This Teague guy, what the disrespect, Gumby, the disrespect.
I mean, he's
chaos.
fun as hell to watch, but I just don't think. I think that's true of every regional prospect too. Like, this isn't a knock on him, but like, every regional prospect at some point in time learns, oh crap, I can't do that against this level guy. Like, damn, this is not something I can do for the rest of my life. I got to round out my game. Maybe this is just the fight where he learns that. And maybe he gets lucky and hits the knockout anyway, and he learns it while also being taught, or not having his record damaged. He might learn that lesson without that. That's the best kind of prospect win. But I do think Lingo is just too tough for him.
Maybe he'll get lucky. There you go. Another zinger. You snuck another one in there. All right. Let's recap. Lingo. The picks are Lingo. The picks are Rosas. The pick is...
You missed Cortez.
Oh, I missed Cortez. That's one. Boy, John's brother-in-law. The disrespect. All right. Lingo, Cortez, Rosas, Urbina, Willingham. Do you have any? We have 14 other fights to pick from, Gumby. Any of these worthy of our attention? In the lightning round, zap, bang, boom.
Yeah, I like Pena Alamov. He's fighting Tracer Reader in a fight I believe will be on the main card. I just think, Reader's been on kind of a rough run. Alamov is a guy who's got a lot of skills too. So I like Pena Alamov. Amber Tercel is another one on the undercard who I'm going to look for. I think I don't know where her odds will come in. She is 3-3 in her pro career, which maybe doesn't look great. Her opponent doesn't have a great record either, but she's on a really good run recently. She's won 3 out of her last 4. So it was like kind of her career started on kind of rocky footing, and she's sort of figured it out since then. So I like the way she seems to be better understanding the all-around MMA game at this point. So Amber Tercel, Pena Alamov, my 2 lightning round picks.
Zap, bang, boom. We are done with the lightning round. We're done with our picks. We're not done with the podcast this week. No. We got UFC tomorrow and Thursday. I haven't even checked. It's actually a good event this week, right? It's Sandhagen main event, right?
Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. So at least the main event will be good. It's on ABC. So maybe they put some other decent fights on the card as well.
Yeah, you got a Lupi Godinez versus Mackenzie Dern fight on there.
That's true.
You're gonna turn your nose up at that. You really don't know anything about MMA.
Tony Ferguson, boop, boop, boop.
Michael Chiesa. I think Shara Bullets making an appearance.
That's true. Marlon Chito Vera, Davison Figueiredo. There we go.
Oh, that's a sick fight. Let's just hope it doesn't turn into Manel Cape versus Mohamed Makayev too.
Well, that happens with we'll talk more about that tomorrow. That's always happens with grudge matches. You posted it on our Twitter, the meme of the dogs going crazy at each other through the fence, and then once the fence opens, they're quiet and do nothing. Yeah, I think
that's also every Sean Strickland fight.
That's true. Yeah, Sean Strickland in training versus Sean Strickland in the ring. So anyhow, yeah, this is a good event. I give it a thumbs up, and it was supposed to have Nick Diaz, so it would have been even better. No comment. All right, so we're covering that tomorrow. This is Abu Dhabi, so they have to. the money they're getting from the UAE, they have to actually put on decent events. So
this is the second try after they were told to go away and come back with something better.
They're always told to go away. We will go away briefly, and then we'll back tomorrow with the prelims. Thursday will be the main card and our fancy plays. In the meantime, we shall be in the Discord. We're always there. Someone is always there, even if we aren't. At sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord to get in there and say hi, even if you don't really want to chat. You just want to watch, want to be one of those creeps that sits in the corner and watches. So be it. But you can say hi. Where else are we? Twitter, SGPN MMA, where all the creeps hang out. He's got me Willingham. I'm Jeff Fox, writer there and on Instagram. Get into my Substack. Enter the UFC vet we just discussed. You can enter my free pick'em contest at moneymma.substack.com. Gummy's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. He has guests on it this week that I have already forgotten who they are. So he's going to tell everyone who they are.
Lupi Godinez fighting the Afro.
Oh, how can I forget? Yeah, the traitor. I've forgotten her. She broke my heart.
And she's also talking about her sister who is representing Canada in the Olympics in just a little bit.
All right.
Ana Godinez. And then I'm also talking to Joey Hart, very exciting striking prospect coming to Contender Series. So make sure you check that out.
Excellent. So check it out. Where else? What happened? Oh, YouTube, of course. We've told you already, and you people have listened. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMA Gambling Podcast. Subscribe from all your accounts. Make a bunch of burner fake accounts, like your Kevin Durant. Make a bunch of fake accounts and subscribe. Get all your spouses, plural again, friends, family, coworkers, enemies, people on the bus, people on the subway. Sneak onto their devices and make them subscribe. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. So you can dress like a cool guy like us. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. So you can get bonus content from the bosses. All right, back tomorrow. As I said, lights out. Jeff Fox, Junior Vreeland. We'll talk to you then.